So beware the military industrial complex. Coming right on. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logic Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So, on January 17, 1961, President Eisenhower delivered his farewell address. Now, in that address, that 10-minute speech he basically gave us a warning about the military industrial complex. Now, he basically said in that speech, you know, in the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists, and it will persist. Well, basically what he's saying is that we as citizens, we should be aware and concerned about the influence that the military industrial complex can have over politicians. And if we don't, they will try to influence, and they have influenced the politicians. So basically, we should be concerned about this, is what he's saying. Now, what is the military industrial complex? Again, understand this is where we get the phrase, beware the military industrial complex. But what is the military industrial complex? Basically, it's not the military. It's the people who support the military. And this is through, mostly through building, producing weapons, arms, vehicles, and such, and it's companies such as Lockheed Martin, McDonnell Douglas, Raytheon, the people who build the weapons, the people who build all of the vehicles, the planes, the tanks, the ships, right? All of the bombs, the missiles, artillery shells, and so forth. This is what's considered the military complex. Now, the more weapons that they sell, the more money they make. That's with any business. The problem is that they're in the business of war, weapons of war. So in order for them to sell more, we have to use more. That means we have to be in wars, and basically we would have to be in perpetual wars to use these weapons, to put miles on the vehicles, which means we have to replace them. The more AIM-1 AMRAAMs we shoot, AIM-10 or 120 AMRAAMs we shoot, which is a missile it's created by Raytheon, right? If we're in conflicts and we shooting missiles, well, we have to replace those missiles, and each one of those missiles have a hefty price. So Raytheon makes more money the more missiles we shoot, the more bombs we drop if they make them. So this is the danger. Now, what influence do they have over politicians? Well, they spend millions of dollars in campaign contributions to politicians, presidents, and when they spend that money to the career politicians, well, they want something for that, and they basically get perpetual wars. This is why we're always involved in perpetual wars, because politicians, and we have too many politicians, not enough statesmen. A statesman is a person who's in politics, who's there for the good of the people. A politician, they're there for themselves, and the only concern they have is to get reelected. And well, campaign contribution helps you get reelected. So when these people give millions of dollars to these politicians, they're expecting something, and they get that. Now, when you sit back and ask yourself, people talking about us constantly being in these wars. We've been in perpetual wars damn near for the last 30 years, 30 plus years or so, always in conflict somewhere. Well, as a matter of fact, the last president who didn't start these conflicts and got us out of the conflict was President Trump. And that's because he wasn't beholden to them. He was pretty much mostly self-funded, and he was funded by small donations from millions of people, millions of Americans, patriots. So he wasn't beholden to the military industrial complex. And you see, he got us out of the wars. But like I say, That's the danger that it posed, and that's what Eisenhower was warning us about. Now, I know many people have heard that the saying, beware the military industrial complex, but sadly, there was a lot of people who haven't. And these are the people who really need to hear this, and we as American citizens need to be more concerned about what's going on in D.C., what's going on with our politicians, because they just have too much power and influence, and people will want to buy access to it. So anyway, like I say, I suggest we all heed the warning of Eisenhower, and we should be concerned about the military-industrial complex, especially if you are against wars and perpetual wars and rumors of wars and so on and so forth, because we're going to always have them as long as politicians can be bought. Anyway, y'all, that's just my 2 cents on it. Like I said, the man gave us a warning. We should heed it. And as always, y'all, until next time.